Today, we are diving into this really fascinating story about a small company called Yishi Xi'an. Now, they were facing a huge problem. They needed to triple their revenue, but there was no way they could triple their staff. So their solution was this pretty innovative strategy they call vibe coding. And honestly, it completely changed how they work. So let's break down how on earth they pulled it off.
I mean, really, it all boils down to this one simple question. Can a team of 40 people actually do the work of 120? It just sounds impossible, right? But what's so cool about this story is that it suggests with the right approach to AI, the answer might just be yes.
All right, so to really get how they did this, we're going to follow their journey. First, we'll look at the huge scaling challenge they were up against. Then we'll unpack their really unique solution, vibe coding. We'll see how they put AI into the hands of their frontline teams, check out the incredible results, and finally, explore what this whole new way of working could mean for, well, all of us.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. Because, like a lot of successful small companies, Yichi Xi'an basically hit a wall. A really common people-powered bottleneck. So a little context for you. Yichi Xi'an helps overseas startups launch in the Asian market, mostly through crowdfunding. They're a small, super agile team of about 40 people. But get this, the core of their work, I'm talking project management, customer service, all the admin, was handled by this tiny operations team of just 8 to 10 people. That's it. And right there, that was the problem. The CEO, Wang Hao, he just put it perfectly. Their growth model was totally linear. More clients meant more paperwork, more admin, which meant they had to hire more staff. He knew this just wasn't going to work long term. If they wanted to triple their revenue, they couldn't just triple their headcount. They had to completely break that model. And their solution was, well, it was completely counterintuitive. See, instead of just hiring more engineers to build more tools, they decided to rethink who builds the tools in the first place. They called it vibe coding. And the core idea is simple, but it's also kind of revolutionary. You empower the frontline employees, the people who actually feel the operational pain every single day, to build their own software solutions using AI and no-code tools. It's about letting the experts on the problem become the architects of the solution. And this just shows the massive shift. I mean, the old way is so familiar, right? Engineers build, operations use whatever they're given, and needs get totally lost in translation. But with vibe coding, the operations team becomes the designer. They're building their own tools. While the engineers, they shift into this new role as guides and architects, just making sure everything works together. Now, that all sounds great in theory, but, what does it actually look like in practice? Let's dive into a couple of incredible stories from the teams on the ground who really did this. They started small, which was smart. Take the company's internal process for getting the official company seal. It was this tedious 10-step physical workflow. So the operations team, using AI tools, built a simple online system themselves. And boom, they immediately cut the process in half. This small win was so crucial because it proved the concept worked and gave them the confidence to go after way bigger problems. And with that confidence, they did go after bigger problems. The finance team, for example, took on a beast that anyone in a growing company knows all too well, the super complex and expensive enterprise resource planning, or ERP system. So the problem was twofold. The ERP was a pain to use, and every single user license was expensive. So the finance staff, and I'm not talking about engineers here, they used vibe coding to design their own system. They built this simple custom interface they called Smart Remittance that just sits on top of the ERP. All their daily work happens on their easy-to-use system, which then just talks to the complex ERP in the background. The key thing here is they made the system fit their workflow, not the other way around. All right, now for what might be the most impressive example of all. The operations team didn't just simplify a process. They built a sophisticated AI copilot for their customer service department from the ground up. This tool plugged directly into their customer service software, Zendesk. It analyzes incoming tickets and pre-drafts replies for the agents, automatically pulling in all the relevant order data. And here's the really incredible part. This wasn't built by the engineering department. The non-technical operations team built it themselves. They even connected different software systems together, with engineers just acting as consultants. It's amazing. So, we've seen the how, but did it actually work? I mean, what was the real measurable impact of this whole new approach? Well, the numbers are pretty staggering.
First off, that custom finance system we talked about, it led to an 80% reduction in the number of expensive ERP licenses they had to buy. 80%.
And that 80% reduction translates directly into about 1.2 million new Taiwan dollars, or roughly $40,000 in software savings every single year.
And what about that AI customer service copilot? It more than doubled the team's daily capacity. So they went from handling about 70 tickets a day to over 150, all without adding a single person to the team.
And here's everything all together. The improvements were just across the board. A massive 80% drop in ERP costs, doubled customer service capacity, but also, look at this, a 70% faster reply time for customers, and even a 15% drop in return requests, probably because issues were just getting solved way faster and more accurately. The data is just crystal clear. This worked.
But the biggest impact wasn't just in the numbers. This whole thing fundamentally changed the company's culture and created an entirely new way of working.
This right here is the key takeaway. Employees were no longer just executors of repetitive manual tasks. They became designers and architects of their own workflows. So instead of asking who was going to do this boring job, the whole conversation shifted to how can we design a better system so no one has to?
And we'll end with this really powerful idea from the CEO. This was never about cutting staff. It was about empowerment. It suggests that the true power of AI isn't really about replacing people. It's about giving the ones who understand the problems best the tools to finally solve them themselves. So it kind of leaves us with a question. If you could build any tool to fix the most broken process in your job, what would you create?
喜欢这种学习方式，欢迎订阅我的频道，让我们一起用下一个10分钟，把商业英文变简单。